Hello, everybody. A very warm good afternoon to all viewers out there. I am Mayuri, and I'm Division Director, Division N, District 98, Toastmasters International. At Division N, we decided to start an initiative called Members Unplugged, and we write it as Nplugged because we are Division N. We thought of getting to know our members better because we talk about meetings, we talk about Toastmasters, but do we really know our members? So we thought of why not have members over and talk about them, where they come from, what else is there in their life besides Toastmasters. Let me introduce you to our very first guest, a proud moment for me personally, and a pleasure indeed, a privilege indeed, to introduce to you our guest today, Toastmaster Dr. Naznin Chimthanawala. Hi Naznin, how are you?
Hi Mayuri, thank you so much for inviting me, and I am truly honored. I honestly am.
It is a pleasure indeed for us, and we would love to get to know you better. So friends, Naznin she's a doctorate in psychology and counseling, in psychotherapy and counseling. She is one of those rare ones who has a certificate in Bach, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, Bach Remedies. This is something which is something very new for us, at least for me it is, and we would love to know more about how did this happen? Where did this come from? And for that, I would like you, Naznin, to take it over. Let us know, how did this come into being?
You can pronounce it either Bach flower or Bach flower.
Okay.
Yes. So it was Dr. Edward Bach who started these particular remedies, flower remedies.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was very young, when I was around 10, my granduncle was a homeopath, very famous homeopath in Mumbai at that time. And I, as a young tot, used to go and sit with him, and he used to give me these speech pills, and I was very fascinated by the whole drama or the whole all the process of the whole medicine and taking, and I used to keep sitting there and watching him. And he was very much older, and one fine day when I was about 10 or 12, he just happened to tell me that remember one thing: if you ever see somebody falling on the road, make sure that you have rescue with you, and give him 2 drops in his mouth. That kind of stayed with me. I didn't know what rescue was. I did not know so much about anything. I mean, at 10 and 12, my life was more of studies, books, and clothes. So yes, and I had my Walkman all the time. So I used to miss hearing quite a few things. But then a life passed, and later I realized, along with my psychotherapy, I thought that Bach flower remedies, which works purely on emotions, is a perfect blend and a complement to my psychotherapy. So I first initially started with my school children of my daughter. Whenever they used to have, exam fear, they would all come to me and they would say that just give us something. So I would put these drops in their mouth, and they would go happily, and they'd score very well.
And I remember I used to have exam fever, typically the night before the exam, and it would vanish the day of the exam.
Yeah, so they solved, and I realized that it was really working.
Yes.
So then I got into the whole understanding of the therapy. I did my 3 levels from UK. And
so this was the online, you were there. How did this course happen?
I did it from Mumbai, where a teacher from England had come and taught us. And it was one of the most fascinating experiences of my life. And later on, I have really studied it more and more deeply, as learning is required at anything.
Yeah. So Naznin, I see today there are so many people who talk about life coach and wellness. And when I was probably growing up, there was not so much talk about the wellness. We used to, of course, talk about healthy eating habits and sleeping habits, but the state of being, a wellness on a whole. I feel that today there are more and more people talking about it and seeking advice and help also. So do you see this shift in the recent, let's say, a decade? Have you noticed a change in identifying where we are and how we want to go? How, in your profession, have you noticed this kind of change?
The change initially was slow. There was yet a sense of taboo.
Okay.
But I, in fact, found that there was a lot of fantastic response as far as me personally was concerned. I used to offer telephone counseling, I think, which gave them a lot of privacy. I also used to offer 30-minute counselings, 15-minute counselings anytime, and I would adjust myself to the needs and requirements of the client. I also, in particular psychotherapy, it is very important that you understand intuitively and cognitively what that particular person requires. And of course, I offered confidentiality, which is the norm. So yes, there has been a great shift
Today.
Yes, there has been, and in fact, I find that people from all classes, Mayuri, every class of India is quite willing to take counseling.
And this was earlier, like you said a little while ago, this was earlier a little bit of hesitation, a taboo.
Yes, there was a little hesitation. Taboo was mainly they felt they needed it, but their family members would not agree. And they didn't know how to label them. If I was worried, excessively worried about something, so was that anxiety or was that something to be just brandished off as saying that no, it's worry and so what? But then people realized that that kind of worry, if it was taking away from the present life that they were leading, if it was not creating joy for them, then they realized that they had to seek
help.
Yeah.
So today, do you see there is in the entire sections, different sections of the society? Do you see, is it youngsters? Is it adolescents? Is it couples in relationship? Is it middle age? Which section of the society do you think you find more and more people seeking help from you?
So adolescents, definitely. Even a lot of couples.
Okay.
Yes. There are a lot of corporate people who have go through a lot of stress, and they do also come. They are willing to change their career, or they want to change their paths, and then they're worried about the financials and lots of different topics coming up. So interpersonal and interpersonal relationships are the core of any psychotherapy. So my relationship with myself and my relationship with
the
you,
client,
or with anybody in the environment, and that is the basic core. Yes, everybody seeks help, and as I say that it would be very beneficial. That is what I try to promote, is that every family, as they have a family GP, they should have a family counselor, so that someone who knows the dynamics of the people involved, and overall the health of the family may not deteriorate, because they have someone to go to who is not the person who you are aggrieved with. So that is something that I really try to propagate. It doesn't come easy. Many people would scoff at the idea, but I do feel that seeking help is smart.
Definitely.
And smart is the new sexy.
Definitely. So do you also feel that communication within the family members also, how we communicate plays a big role? Is it between couples, for example, or maybe between siblings, or a child and a parent? So when you say that there should be some person in a family to whom they can go without fear of being judged.
Yeah.
So do you think do you also help them with techniques of communication in your course?
Communication is the most important tool that we have. Again, we have to also understand that along with communication, it is about also processing what you see. So I may be able to communicate with you effectively, but what am I processing? So if you give me a look, and it's something that you are thinking, but if I get offended by it, so it's my processing that is fault.
Right. Okay.
And if we understand that, and that is what I teach, wellness facilitating. So if you understand that, and you stop or taking things extremely personally all the time. In fact, I would say most of the time you should just not take things personally. It's all about the other person, and not make it about you.
Right.
Things can be so much at ease. Like you feel that you're living in a certain cocoon of paradise, and it's a good place to be.
So when you started off, of course, today, how many years has it been? I never asked you that. Almost?
Yeah, I've been counseling for more than 10, 12 years now.
And so for our viewers, we need to let you know that Naznin runs a wellness clinic by the name of Positive Wings. So even the name in itself is hugely positive. And wings to fly, if I may say so.
Absolutely.
So how did this entire thing come by when you wanted to actually open a clinic? And I believe you have 2 centers, right? In Nagpur?
Yeah, I have 2 centers. One is in Shantinagar, Etwari, and one is in Dharampet. And yes, I've got two firms also, if you have to say. One is Positive Wings Counseling Center, under which I do counseling. And one is Positive Wings Wellness Academy, under which I teach I teach bachelor, basic and advanced courses. I teach counseling and life coaching skills, which is an ISO certified diploma too.
Wonderful. So that brings me to my next question. I'm sure there are many who would want to know what is required to, of course, coming to you is one thing, but do you think there should be a prerequisite, some kind of previous knowledge of something before they come for a certificate course?
So basically, the course that I have developed is a very elitist course in that sense, meaning to say that I would like to attract people who are genuine about
wanting to take this as
take this up, because it's a very responsible profession,
right?
And I also have this particular aim to create a band of healers.
Oh,
so if
nice.
I alone can maybe affect 10 people or 100, together
yes,
we can affect 1,000.
Of course.
And my particular style of teaching is highly interactive. So as I said, it's an elitist course practically based on the best courses in the world.
Okay.
And because it is highly interactive, my USP is that after my course, and if you do it diligently, you will have the confidence to open your own clinic.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And so how long is the duration of the course?
The wonderful part is that the course is 7 months long.
Okay.
It could maybe spill into 7.5. Another wonderful thing is that in today's day and time, along with the books that I offer, I teach for nearly 70 hours. I give you 70 hours of interactive teaching.
I hope all the listeners over there and viewers over there are taking note of this.
So like nobody teaches
in depth, so profoundly, correct.
And I know, and I don't take more than 18 at a
time, right?
So I know them, they know me, they're allowed to connect with me at any time. I do not at all, I'm not stingy about what I teach. By stingy, I mean that I'm very particular that you get the idea across, and I take all the required effort very, very joyfully.
I can see that. I can see the passion that you have for the teaching aspect of it.
Absolutely, I do.
Wonderful. So Naznin, coming to the current scenario that we are in, of course, now we are we started moving out again. What did you do during the last of 2020, a year that we would probably want to forget? But I think you have been pretty busy in 2020. So what have you been up to then?
With sending a prayer to all those people who've not had it good, and the people that we have lost all over the world, and our neighbors and so many others. I have to say very gratefully that 2020 has been very kind to me.
That's it's so nice to hear someone be so empathetic about the year that actually brought about quite a lot of trauma. Yeah,
it's been very kind to me. Maybe because by divine grace, I was needed, and as far as my counseling is concerned, I also was a telemental health counselor for the International Organization MSF, Médecins Sans Frontières.
Okay, Médecins Sans Frontières.
She's the French teacher.
That's wonderful,
I've got the pronunciation wrong, and she's going to say it again. So yes, I was the telemental for all the months right up to December. And we were targeting the frontline workers.
Correct.
So that was practically because I had shifts all 24/7. So we used to do that.
But it must have been also extremely very satisfying to be able to give whatever you can, in whatever way you can. You are not at the front line. There are others who are. But counseling them, being there for them over the phone, because you said tele counseling. This is really very inspiring.
It was very satisfying. And it was very humbling also, because I yet was sitting on the comfort of my chair.
And they were out there.
So it was a very humbling experience. And
I believe you've been writing you've been keeping yourself busy with a number of things, Naznin. I know this. So what have you been writing about?
So I've been a professional freelance writer since quite a while. I used to work for an ad firm initially. But and I love writing. It's one of my other passions. So I genuinely love writing. So I started with this gratitude series during the lockdown. So I was just sitting one day and I clicked. I just put my phone and I saw my wallpaper.
Okay.
And actually, no, it was not my wallpaper, it was the second or third. I was sitting near my window and my window had a grill and it had little pots and plants. And I just clicked it and I said that, okay, this is my open window.
Oh, lovely.
And I started that as a series, clicking things around my home. And I would write a small little gratitude on it for them or that particular object being in my life, in my home, creating joy for me. And me, if it, just watching it, having it, using it, and honoring it too.
Wonderful. So if I may ask, to what percentage would you attribute gratitude, in the sense for one to feel at peace, in harmony with everyone and everything around us? How much do you think would gratitude play a role? A lot.
Yes, gratitude would play a very significant role, but we have to be aware that gratitude can also become a burden for some.
Would you like to elaborate on that?
Yes, because every WhatsApp that you get will tell you, be grateful, be
Yes.
grateful. Sometimes, like today, I'm in a bad mood or something, I've kind of twisted my leg, or my maid has not come, I'm rushed to work. And
Yes.
there are days when things are not really okay, or I have had maybe a squabble with one of my loved ones, and I'm not really feeling nice. At that time, don't force yourself to be grateful. You can't, it's okay, God can take it.
True.
So
it's more like accepting.
Yeah,
it's all right to.
Yeah, and it's about feeling all the emotions that you would do, and creating joy for yourself in small or big manners. I can't force myself to be grateful. That becomes very, very, very burdensome.
Right.
It's not something that I want to do. If it comes naturally, I'm grateful that I'm grateful, and I'm grateful that I'm not, if at times.
And do you think over the course of time, with the passage of time, we develop in us this way of thanking and being grateful for everything that we are blessed with? Do you think with regular practice, we can actually start being grateful for everything around us?
Yes, absolutely. It's again a perspective and a processing.
Right. And so the first time it'll take me a little time, and then gradually I'll start being grateful for everything and everyone around me.
Yeah.
Right. Really.
Another thing that I would like to add is that I have two firm beliefs that have worked for me, is that whatever happens, happens for my best only, and happens as the way to. So if for example, you had invited me, say 6th or 8th or 10th or 12th, or forgotten to invite me, for example, now that would be okay. Yeah, I mean, it's okay.
I know.
I would like you anyway.
Yeah, I know.
So it's not about me all the time. You may have your schedules, you may have your priorities. Everything can be, it's fine.
It's fine. It's learning to be, yeah, I know. It's learning to accept that it's all right. This is the best, and not hold a judge
and you can use
or a
the time
grudge.
for something else.
Absolutely. There's so much.
So much.
There is so what are your other passions, Naznin, besides counseling and therapy? I know with a lot of things I'm sure you'll be able to find out time, because I can imagine you're a well-organized lady who knows how to organize the time. Yes.
So reading, I love reading.
Wonderful.
And I read 4 books at a time.
You do manage to? Now I have to confess here, it took me 1 year to finish one book. I've become so distant from books.
We've got a wonderful book club over here in Nagpur, which is quite in the lines of Toastmasters. So I read something about psychology, definitely, about my work and related. I read of Bash Flower. I read a novel. There's got to be a nice
something light and yes,
a fictional thriller novel. There's something that I see that I read. I read magazines, either the Monitor of I'm also an international affiliate member of the American Psychological Association.
All right.
So magazines from them that keeps me up with the current news. I read a lot of say these brain pickings and other things that come along. I read something maybe philosophical and spiritual. Yeah.
It depends upon the mood you're in, and then you pick it up and the time.
At one time, like something or the other,
yes,
absolutely going on. And I binge watch.
Oh, that's nice. So that's something that we did not know. We've seen one part of you as a counselor, but you binge watch as well. That's interesting to know.
I absolutely.
So we connect on that front, actually. Wonderful. So would there be something, Naznin, as a message to our viewers out there that you would like to say, especially in these times when we realize that we are all stressed, largely because of the COVID, but even otherwise, would you want to share something? Like a mantra kind of thing, if I may ask you.
Okay. So I'll give one mantra, that is that to everyone out there is no age to start something. You can do anything at any age. Don't don't hesitate or curtail yourself if you think that you are at this age and you can't do something, especially in the field of studying and growing your mind, because there is a certain confidence about it and a deep satisfaction when you achieve these goals. And what was the other mantra? Yeah. So mantra would be that, what would I give you all as a mantra? Because I tend to change my mantras many a time. But the thing is that be kind to yourself.
That's so important.
Be kind to yourself. Don't judge yourself. It's okay to be the body weight that you are. It's okay to have a bad hair day. It's okay to not be okay with your relationships. It's okay to not have everything in place.
Right.
Everybody would like a perfect life, like a perfect boyfriend, perfect food, perfect mate, perfect children. It doesn't work like that.
So there is something that I'm reminded over here. My mom used to always tell me, she still does, man ka ho to अच्छा, man का ना हो तो और भी अच्छा, क्योंकि फिर वो ऊपर वाले की मन का होता है.
And even something like that, I think just kindness.
Yes, to the self, like you said.
To myself.
And to all those around me.
And you can do it only if you're kind to yourself. If you learn to pamper yourself, if you learn to take things a little at ease when required. You don't have to rush through life. And everything gets done. Believe me.
Trust, yes, absolutely.
Everything gets done perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It actually really does.
Yeah.
I'm a living example of it. Yes, my children will disagree on many counts, but luckily they're not here. So,
but they're watching you. They're going to come back home and ask you. No, but it is true. It is true. I think it begins with myself. I learn to accept and be kind to myself, and then to, of course, those around me.
And it's okay to be lazy.
How I wish we could actually learn to say it's all right. It's okay. You don't have to be busy all the time.
You don't have to be.
Right?
Overwork is glorified.
I think that should be a takeaway. Overwork is glorified. Learn to just be in the moment at times. It is very important to just absorb the beauty of life with everything around you. I'm sure it is easy and doable. So that is wonderful talking to Naznin. So to my viewers, you have Dr. Naznin Chimthanawala, whom you can approach for any kind of help and seek guidance, counseling that you would require. She has a clinic at Dharampet and another one at Itwari. And for you, I would love to share her phone number. It's 9767888323. And I repeat that, 9767888323. You can also find her on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, under her name, Naznin Chimthanawala, and Positive Wings Wellness Academy. Naznin, an absolute pleasure. I cannot thank you enough. It has been, I am so happy that we have started this Nplugged members Nplugged series with you. And I look forward to having other guests also share, because we are such a huge family and we really needed this to know you. And I'm so happy to have had you on this.
Thank you so much. I have always admired the way you orate. There's never been a better orator, I think, that I have ever seen.
Thank you.
I yet remember the speech that you'd given about that, the blind sari thing.
Ah, right.
But it was one of the most beautiful speeches that I had ever heard, and
thank you.
All kudos to you.
Thank
you once again for inviting me. It's really been fun.
Yes,
sure.
Thank you.
And yes, Toastmasters is a family. Our little NTC is a nice, lovely friends and family, and
absolutely.
I'm so grateful that I'm a Toastmaster.
I know. And now I think apart from the clubs that we have here, we are growing in terms of community, but I think it is important at the same time to remain grounded. Like you say, let us accept every being and ourselves as we are.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Naznin. It was a pleasure, and I look forward to meeting you sometime again in a meeting, in a club meeting sometime.
Absolutely. Maybe we can go on a picnic.
Yes, we should once it's good weather. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye-bye.